Say amen.
Easy Sports Talk Show. Javon Adams with my man Ed Smith. Sometimes, see, we gotta bring levity to things we do. I am one of your co-hosts. I am Javon J. Love Adams, and with me, as always, is a man who not only played professional baseball, but he also played in the National Football League for that first Super Bowl-bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm talking about, of course, none other than Ed Easy Smith. What is good, my brother?
Amen.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome
Yes,
home, bro.
indeed.
I know you had a quick trip you
Man.
had to do, and welcome home, man.
Yeah. Quick. So rest in peace to my aunt Allie Young. Laid her celebrated her life yesterday in California. So did a quick turnaround trip, me and the family. So, but yeah, yeah. Sometimes funny things come as a result of some of those situations. But speaking of funny situations, interesting situations. Sometimes you don't always get what you want. Right. And so we're going to get into that. And I want your thoughts on what happened in the NBA. And of course, this is, as we record this, we do this 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you can just search Easy Sports Talk Show podcast or Easy Sports Talk Show, or however you're listening to this, easysportstalk.com as well. And so as we're recording this is a football Friday. And so we do believe in the Arizona Cardinals as well. So that'll be coming out today. Typically it's Mondays and Thursdays. And then for your Saturday, because you can't get enough of us, we have our national radio show, Easy Sports Talk Show, on sportsmapradio.com. Sportsmapradio.com. If you're not in one of the markets where we are on terrestrial radio, you can go there, click on the little play button in the upper right corner, or download the app for your Apple or Android device. And that's every Saturday from 1 to 3 Eastern. So I'm sitting here on Wednesday, kind of finishing. It was about mid-morning after we had finished after we finished the Wednesday edition, not too long after. My son hits me up. My son is a Phoenix Suns fan, and he hits me up and says, "Dad, did you hear they traded Dame?" And I said, "Okay, cool, interesting. Where'd they trade him to?" They traded him to the Bucks. And then he also says, "And Ayton has been traded. DeAndre Ayton has been traded." So I want to break down the trade. So Portland. So Damian Lillard goes to Milwaukee, goes to the Milwaukee Bucks, part of a three-team deal. Portland received Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara. He's a rookie that the Phoenix Suns drafted, and then Milwaukee's 2029 unprotected first-round draft pick and an unprotected Milwaukee swap rights back in 2028 and 2030. And then also the Phoenix Suns, they received Jusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson as part of that trade package. It is expected that Drew Holiday will not be starting or will not be playing for the Portland Trailblazers because they got a youth movement that they're trying to do. But I wanted your thoughts on this trade. When you heard about it, Dame, we know he wanted to go. He was very specific about where he wanted to go. I want to go to Miami. And they said, "Cool, you want to go to Miami? You'll go to Milwaukee." So I know your son, Q, has to be elated, but I got some thoughts on this trade. But just in terms of as we start to get into who won, are the Bucks good, the Suns win or lose this, what were your thoughts when you heard about this trade?
Well, as you mentioned, my son's a Bucks fan. I was sitting in the office doing some work when it dropped. And the first thing I thought, oh, my God, that boy's going to lose his mind.
Yes.
So I was all excited and ready. I was like, let me get I go pick him up from school every day. And I'm like, I'm going to surprise him. He's going to get in the truck. He was about 30 yards from the truck. Give me the Dame. It's Dame time thing on his wrist. I was like, got it. So already his little friends, they were doing lunch. He got a text from one of his buddies who's a Bucks fan, and he and other kids were in line. And before he got in the truck, he gave one of the other kids the Dame sign. So excited. And that's what I love about sports, man. When you have that passion, and we both have sons, and when you see that passion in them, it lights me up, because there are certain things that because we do sports for a living, sometimes we lose that excitement, and when you see that, it kind of revives you a little bit.
That's true.
The first thing came to my mind for these, for the Bucks. I mean, huge deal for them. I like how the Suns got involved. I think all teams in it won. I think the team that's sitting there outside the party, the Miami Heat, they're not feeling too great about themselves because, as you mentioned, it was almost like a done deal. Dame said that's where he wants to go, so that's where he's going to go. And what I'm happy about Portland, what they did, they were like, wait a minute, we're in it for us and you if we can help you. So they did send him to a contender, but I like the fact that they said we're waiting for the best possible option to come along, and we're going to wait until that happens. And I think it's a great sign because we've seen so many times, Jay, over the last couple of years, well, I want to be traded to such. That's just where I want to go. So the team acquiesces, and it's a bad, like I said, it's a bad look. I like the fact that the Portland, they took control of this. They didn't send him to Orlando, something like that. They sent him to a contender. So it's good, a win-win all the way around. And I'm glad that it was handled the way it was. And it's a good look for the league.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you when it comes to that, because here's what's interesting, though, is that Dame he's been adamant, at least publicly, about saying, I don't want to go to some ready-made team. What annoyed me most about, as soon as the trade was announced, is that all of a sudden Milwaukee is a super team. No, they're not. They're not a super team. And the definition of the super team, you know that I have an issue with the definition of super team and how super teams typically don't even win championships. They might be interesting, or I think what ends up happening whenever you talk about super teams, and I'm curious to see how this is going to work. I think it may be different this season because there's a lot more depth across the board and very talented teams, not just depth because there's a lot of parity, but there's a lot of parity in the sense of good teams to be that in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. But what happens is, I think the average fan gets tired of people telling them this super team is going to win, so they don't even watch. So why should I watch? And then that super team doesn't win, and they say, oh, well, whatever. Now my habits have changed, and so therefore it's different for me. But Dame has been really adamant about not wanting to go to some ready-made team. And hey, if you went to Miami, it was going to be better than going to Portland. So you gotta just make it work and do what you do.
Well, I think instead of the super team, this is just a well orchestrated team. This is
very well
team
said. Yeah,
they took because Drew Holiday is no slouch. You got to remember,
not at all. I'll take him, put him on my Lakers. Yeah,
exactly. And the fact that you brought up, Portland is not in the mode of play right now, so there are other teams that are just like screaming, hey, we want Drew Holiday. They're going to do him a favor, get him to where he needs to go, But the thing about the Bucks, they just took a piece in Drew Holiday and replaced it with a better piece that fits right along with what Giannis. This will free up so much space around that court. Now they can do pick and roll, everything. And what Dame is, he's a closer too. So now instead of having Giannis have to close, big dude bringing the ball down, I talk to my son all the time. Why are they not utilizing, Giannis down on the block more? Because they got him bringing the ball up and stuff. Let Giannis get down the court, get on the block. You got Dame, who's a closer now. They can run pick and roll, so many different things. This is an actual piece that fits. It's like not trying to shovel a piece into a puzzle that almost fits. This is the exact piece. Like you said, with the super teams, it's always like, well, let's just go get 4 superstars, 3 superstars. No, this is a piece that actually fits that's going to make the Milwaukee that much better, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's get into that. So Easy Sports Talk, that Ed Smith and Javon Adams here. I want to ask, so what do you think about the chances for the Bucks? Because all of a sudden now the Bucks are the favorite. I don't think the Bucks should be the favorite, to be honest with you. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. I don't know if they should be a prohibitive favorite, I guess is a better way to say it. But here's my issue with it. Drew Holiday, really good defender. Defender, and plus he's a type of point guard that can get the offense started. But I wonder if, what they have a new coach coming up this season as well, if I'm not mistaken, that if they're going to take the ball out of Giannis's hand, make him, with whatever time is left before the season begins, really try to focus on his maybe back to the basket or doing some other things where he's off ball, where you mentioned pick and roll. So some of those things where the ball's out of his hand a little bit more. You don't want to change his game 180 degrees, but to be able to take advantage of Dame So that worries me a bit because you're taking out somebody like that. I don't think Grayson Allen I know he's a starter for them last season. I think that he's one of those guys that's going to benefit the Suns for sure. And so taking him out of your offense or off of your team as well, I think that's something that concerns me a bit. You have aside from Giannis, Dame misses some games. He's Dame time, but he misses some game time too in terms of being injured. I'm concerned about that as well, being a team that's a little bit older than what the average is of, I want to say like 27, 28 years old in the league. So that concerns me a bit. Does that concern you at all?
Age doesn't necessarily, trouble me at all. The way they handle these seasons now, I know there's going to be a change, obviously, with the new rules. You got to play players and stuff like that. They'll figure out a way to get the minutes where they need to get them. The defensive part with Dame coming in, when you have Giannis and who's the other dude, the other big
Brook
man they
Lopez.
have on the back, the Brook Lopez on the back of that defense, backside of it, those dudes are rim protectors like you can't imagine. So they'll be able to clean up a lot of the mess that's happening in the front court. There's a lot of length back there. So not necessarily worried about Dame, being the defensive stopper compared to Jrue Holiday.
They got Bobby Lopez. I'm not Bobby Lopez, but
the other
Bobby
Lopez,
Portis. Bobby Portis. They got
well.
both Lopez, brother. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you take away Grayson Allen. That's to me, he's a Duke dude anyway. So I don't care about him. But I think this team, and the thing that we're going to have to watch is everybody thinks just because you put the pieces together, they automatically work. No, right, I'm looking at a new head coach, new pieces. It's not going to look like a finished product in the beginning of the year, but that's what the March through to 82 is, right? And, these dudes, you give them time. They start here in October. It might not look as pretty as it does come January, February, and March. I guarantee you, if they utilize these pieces the way they should, you talk about Giannis, I've always been an advocate of why do you have this guy, as your main ball handler? You don't need
and
that.
Every time he comes up the court, what he does is he's trying to bull rush
Barrel
to the
down.
basket. Yeah. And then he tries that maybe he'll kick it. And that's not how you run an offense, man.
Nah. So let this guy get down on the block. If you want to do pick and roll and stuff like that, I'm a fan of taking more off of his plate. That way he can be more effective at what he is actually supposed to be out there doing and good at. I love the fact that you get Dame or somebody else bringing the ball down, runs a pick and roll. Giannis should be the master of the 15 to 18 footer. He absolutely should. And on the block, dunking over everybody. He should be posterizing dudes all out through the league. And if we can get him to 50+% from 15 to 18 and not worrying about coming down and shooting up threes and stuff like that, you got Dame for that now. They'll be a totally different team. And then take away Budenhauser. I mean, the dude, he used to stand. I mean, you give him a sandwich and a drink, man, and he could blend in with the fans. Literally could have just blended in with the fans standing there sitting there in those courtside seats. Dude did nothing. So I'm excited. I'm not a Bucks fan. But I like good basketball. And as you say, who do you think? I'll ask you, who do you think is the prohibitive favorite in the East? I actually like them coming out of the East. Celtics, I know they got Porzingis, but he's as injury prone as you can imagine. That's going to be a odd fit if you ask me. Miami Heat, they're always there, but
they lost a couple pieces in free agency. I would say, maybe Boston slightly, but maybe toss it between Boston and the Bucks. But
the Sixers will do for you. So I'm looking at the Bucks like by halfway through the season, they'll be like getting their dominance out there. I think they'll be figuring it out, and we'll be talking about, wow, they are running away with the East because Celtics, we never know with them. And indeed. Like I said, Miami, Philly, unless you're thinking of somebody off the board, I see the Celtics or the Bucks being the team to beat over there.
All right. Well, Easy Sports Talk, Ed Smith and Javon Adams. So how about this then? The Suns. So the Suns, they get Jusuf Nurkic. I'm going to tell you this. They trade away Ayton. So, of course, they're number one draft pick from a few years ago. I've heard some things in terms of on the airwaves here locally, here in Phoenix. I tend to, it's either the Suns are going to be much better or they're going to be much worse. I agree with, I'm in that, I subscribe to that theory, because what you're hoping is that Jusuf Nurkic can be that the defensive guy to be able to get you some defensive rebounds, to be able to be able to some of the defensive schemes that they have that their new head coach is going to be able to to be able to deploy. That it's a lot, because he's had some injuries in his past as well. And Ayton over there in Portland I think he's just happy because he's just going to be getting the ball all the time as he tries to grow and he's going to go through a lot of lumps and losing, whereas he didn't really have to do a whole lot of that here in Phoenix. But I think it's almost a wash of sorts for the Phoenix Suns. They should be a little bit better, but it's definitely a risk, and sometimes you have to take risks if you're going to try to win something. But yeah, I think it's definitely a risk. So I think it's almost a wash to me for them, or slightly behind because of giving up on Ayton. What do you think?
If nothing else, Jay, they got rid of that bad seasoning. They finally came to their senses, right? They bought this stuff that was on Amazon. Everybody was talking about it. And they tried it, like, that's some nasty ass, And but they kept it up in the cabinet for 6 months to a year. And they finally came to their senses. I'm never going to use that again. It's nasty. Let's get rid of it. Okay. So they got something. They went out and they got something that they could actually use. Now we'll figure out how good it is and how well it fits with everything else, but at least they're going to the cabinet every now and then, even if it's just for a sprinkle.
Even if it's just to get one of those bay leaves, right? So I got all the other, let me just throw a bay leaf on there with Nurkic.
Hey, my seafood chowder, bro. Every now and then I make it, and I need bay leaves for it. And bruh, it's one of those things. Hey, you take, by the time you get to the back of the cabinet, it's like, I know I got some, and you're going through it, and you finally find it, right? That's what they got rid of. Like I said, they're going to the bay leaves. They got rid of that seasoning that they never going to use and was bad for all their dishes. Yeah. And here they, if nothing else, he will do the job that Ayton didn't want to do. He'll come in because.
Yeah, that's true, because he's not going to be saying, give me the ball. He's definitely not going to be saying that. It's so true.
You got Beal, you got Durant, you got Devin Booker. How much more scoring do you need? You need somebody who is defensive-minded, who doesn't mind getting the scraps. That's like the dude.
That's Grayson Allen, too, because even though I know you said he's from Duke, but he'll go out there and trip somebody if you need him to.
Yeah. You know what those dudes remind me of? They remind me of the dudes that get to the picnic late, right? And they, couldn't make it, but they get there late, and it's like, what y'all got left? Hey, y'all got some. Hey, we got some ribs. We got a couple the last ribs. The ones with the gristle and all that kind of stuff. They're like, I'll take that. All they want is a plate, bro. They don't care what's on it. All they want is a plate with some barbecue. And hey, it's all good, Hey, bro. Hey, you want to dap you up like you just gave them some filet mignon because you gave them some leftover chicken and hey, you got some little potato salad over there? Yeah, let me get some of that. Get their little plate, put a little tinfoil on it. Hey, bro, I'm out. Peace. That's them dudes. That's them dudes you need.
Okay. So, Easy Sports Talk Show. Ed Smith, Javon Adams. Last thing, so it is as they often say around the country, around the United States, because we did that. We know the statistics about around the world where American football is, but here in the United States, it's a Football Friday. So, what is your game of the week for the NFL this week? Do you have a game of the week, a matchup of the week? I think I know what you're gonna say, but what you got?
Hey, man, everybody's going to be watching them Broncos Bears, right? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Nah, man, the game on the week for me is going to be front and center. Miami 3-0 going up to Buffalo 2-1. Yeah. Is Miami for real? They just dropped a 70 burger on Denver. Yeah. Now you're going up to Buffalo. Looks like Buffalo's got their stuff together. This is going to be a battle for the division. Stronghold on it, as far as tiebreakers, out the box. They still got to go down to Miami later on in the season. But this is going to show me if Miami is for real. If they come up here and boat race Buffalo in their home, that's going to tell me a whole lot. If Buffalo shuts them down, then that tells me it's going to be a long drawn out AFC East, and it's going to be a battle. But I'm really interested in that game, front and center, man.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I can't deny that. So yeah, it's going to be. But it's what's also interesting is it's not one of the marquee games of the week in terms of I think where it falls on the schedule. I think it's in that second window. Yeah. So it's going to be.
They got this a regular 1 o'clock game. You know, they got some of these others in the second window that you figure they would have made that one like a primetime game.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: how bad are they? Sunday night game, Kansas City and the Jets, right? They had a whole, and then your Monday night game is the New York Giants and Seattle Seahawks. Whoever put the schedule together for this week,
I mean, even if they were both teams were playing well, I wouldn't want to necessarily see that game.
Here's the thing: everybody has to have at least one primetime game, and I think the Giants already had a Thursday night game. So what were they thinking with that one?
Yeah,
Seattle is not a household name. You know, it's too early in the season to be flexing, but golly, you know, with Jets and Kansas City, they have to be kicking it. Boy, who knew that your boy was going to go down? This would have been. Think about this. This was week 4, and you had Aaron Rodgers against Mahomes on Sunday night. That sounded really, really good. So the Jets, I think they have like 3 more because I think they had a total of like 5 primetime games going into the season, and now. You know, they're hoping like some of these are later in the season they can flex them, but yeah, that did not sounded attractive in the beginning, but turned out to be a bad matchup. And why that Miami game was just in the 1 o'clock window that makes no sense to me because that's going to be the marquee game of the week for me.
Indeed. Well, again, we do this 3 times a week on the podcast side, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tell a friend about what we have going on. We also have Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. That's Believe, BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals. That's Mondays and Thursdays, but a new one will be coming out today on Friday. And then we also have our radio show, our national radio show called The Easy Sports Talk Show. And that is on SportsMap Radio. That's Saturdays from 1 to 3 Eastern. So, you can go to sportsmapradio.com. sportsmapradio.com. You click the little play button in the upper right corner or download the app for your Apple or Android device. So on behalf of the one and only Ed Smith, I am Javon. We will see y'all next time. And as we always say around this time, you can.